This is Culture, Communication, and Brand Moments with Shelby Joe Long, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Culture, Communication, and Brand Moments is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Shelby Joe Long.
Hey, are you looking to scale your business from 5 figures to 6 figures or 6 figures to 7 figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
Hi, Shelby Joe Long here with the Genius Entrepreneur Podcast and president of the Strategic Advisor Board. And I love to talk to businesses that are created out of somebody's passion to solve a problem and to provide services to other people and to basically develop a business out of their genius. And today is no exception. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about Greg's story as he moves into a space where he is being an influencer in the space of the financial space. So, Greg, welcome to the podcast today. If you could introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about you and your background, then we can get into what your business is.
Thanks for having me, Shelby. My name is Greg Hock, and people call me Craig and Gray and everything else, so I always tell them it's short for Gregory. And I have been a practicing public accountant for over 4 decades. I think I've had 41 tax seasons now. I didn't originally intend to become an accountant. I don't have a degree in accounting, but just kind of ended up doing it along the financial career path. It sounded like a good idea back when I was getting an MBA. And so I thought, I'll get a CPA and become a CPA and then go into finance. And I ended up loving the tax world and the people I worked with and the clients I worked with there. So I just kept it on going and just sold my interest in my practice a couple of years back in 2023.
I wonder how many people say that they just love taxes and they love accounting. I don't imagine those. Perhaps it's not the circles that I run in, but what did you really, I mean, it sounds like you really enjoyed the people that you worked with, but is there something else that you just enjoy about that space?
Yeah, I think for a lot of accountants, it's, we tend to be detail oriented and kind of linear thinkers and probably more introverted. And so your problem solving is what you're doing. And on the financial side of accounting, the people that audit the big companies and those sorts of things. I mean, you kind of have the right answer if it balances at the end, right? If it doesn't balance, it's not the right answer. Something's wrong. And in the tax world, we don't have that balance that we're trying to get to, but it's a big problem to solve and to try to work with so many different aspects of our clients' lives to get them the best result for them. And we end up, I think a lot of clients of accounting firms would be surprised how much their accountants know about them just from doing their taxes. You get pretty intimate, may not be the right word, but intimately involved in the financial aspects of their lives. And you can really, it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful way to help people when you know what's going on in their lives and you understand the external factors, the tax laws and other things going on, and you're working with people you like and care about. It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah. No, I imagine. I just think of myself, and it's like, what would my accountant know about me that I probably wouldn't know? You would know more about my spending habits, which maybe I don't want to know that, but the accountant would know those things because that's what they have to track, and that's what they are responsible for. And I guess interpreting that, especially in the small business world, I'm solo entrepreneur, solo business owner, and understanding my own world is just something that I know it's great to have some assistance with. So, and
Well, just
see,
if it gives you peace of mind, we really don't know what you spend the money on, but what we know is, you have this client for a decade and say they make $400,000 a year, and we know they have no interest in dividend income and no rental properties, and they want to start talking about retirement planning. And you say, okay, well, what's your annual budget? What's it cost you to live? And they're like, oh, I don't know, about 100,000 a year. And you look them in the eye and you say, well, where's the other 300,000 going? Because they know it's not going into any investment account, right? So you have that kind of, and at the end of the day, the numbers have to add up to give good advice.
yeah. See, primarily when you have the accounting firm, you primarily worked with small businesses
And individuals. Yeah.
and individuals. Yeah. Do you have a preference on on which you enjoy more?
Not really. I mean, because so many of our individuals have small businesses. So you've
Yeah.
got the interaction between the two, right? So we're trying to come up with the best ideas to take advantage of what should your business structure be, a lot of times the owner's spouse is actually, most spouses have a role in a company, even if they don't have a formal role. And so we try to sometimes formalize that because there's some tax advantages in some cases to doing that, and just help. It's fun to come up with things. The cool thing is you get to see what works and what doesn't work because you get so many other clients. So at the end of the day, when you're actually reporting the numbers, you get to see the bottom line of what's working out there and what isn't.
Yeah. So your accounting firm, you sold it in 2023. So that's pretty recent. But you've been doing it for a very long time. Was that a plan or was that a post-COVID thing? Because I want to talk about your book too and how that all emerged together. Can you talk about that transition and why you transitioned out of that agency ownership and to move to the next phase? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So it's been planned. I brought in a wonderful young man, a CPA, many, many years ago, who's been working for me. And then he became my junior partner. And we always had the understanding that he would buy me out. It was really cool because kind of the way I work with my clients, it was all just a handshake. We had no formal buyout. We both understood it. We talked about it regularly. COVID accelerated it for me. It accelerated, in my book, I talk about the fact that most of the problems, maybe I should say issues and challenges in the accounting profession, existed before COVID, but COVID really brought them to the forefront in a big way and in a hurry. And I think my timeline would have probably been another 5 years before I said, okay, time to pull the trigger. But just a lot of things were happening, and I just kind of got tired at one point. I mean, 41 tax seasons it's not a record, but it's a lot. And
it's a lot.
It was just time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Oh, pardon me. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's been great. I still consult to them, and it's been a good thing for me. And I'm sure it has been a good thing for him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's when you talk to entrepreneurs and owners of businesses, sometimes it's hard to let go of that core that they have developed and spent so much time in for so many years, but sounds like it was part of the plan. So that's good. But now there's kind of an exciting time for you to jump into your next venture. And before we talk about the business, I want you to talk a little bit about your book, 800 Days. And what was the inspiration for writing a book about because it is about what happened with the accounting profession. Can you talk a little bit about that and why you decided to write a book about it?
Sure. So going into COVID, I had no plan or intent to write a book about anything, or certainly not about the profession. And a few things happened during COVID. Literally, what I would call the first day of COVID, certainly right at the beginning, I had a client who had gotten ill. His wife had predeceased him about a month or about a year earlier. And I knew I was his trustee and his executor when he and his wife had passed. They'd asked me to do that probably almost 20 years earlier. And I got a call that he was in the hospital. And I said, I was talking to his wife's cousin. They didn't have any children or siblings. And I said, I'm really, sorry to hear that. And let me know, what I can do. And if something happens to him, let me know, because I'm the successor trustee. And he said, well, no, you're the power of attorney for healthcare and you're his trustee now. And I thought, well, I better get those papers out and reread them.
Yeah.
And because I just throw them in the safe deposit box, I thought they're all pretty standard. So I had to deal with, so he went into the hospital around March 14th of 2020. And March 16th, Monday, was the day we locked down in Santa Clara County in California. And so I started keeping a pretty detailed journal because I needed to detail everything I was doing, names, everything. So I kept a very detailed journal of everything going on. And it was shocking how long it took to do everything because of COVID. I spent hours trying to get a locksmith to go out to the house to change the locks because I didn't know who had the keys. And so I just started journaling all this. And so we go along, and then COVID goes on, and you start reading about people changing jobs and people trying to work from home and people having multiple jobs and not telling the other employers about it, and all this stuff that started happening over the years. And kind of the thing that really made me say, I'm going to go back and write a book about this, was when I learned that about 20% of all the professionals in our profession had left the profession. Not moved from firm A to B, but left firm A and went outside the profession, which could be industry, controller in a big firm or something. Yeah. They left the profession.
Yeah. And accounting specifically, or financial.
Yeah, we call it the profession. That's CPAs serving the public, whether they're big businesses, small businesses, but they're independent CPAs. And that was a shock to me. And so I knew why, and when I got to the 800 days, I was at a conference, our big annual conference that the AICPA puts on. And I kind of started querying people, that I was talking to at the conference, and I realized it, for me personally, we were past 800 days from that day in March, and I had not had a single day off. So I started asking people, since March of 2020, and this is 2023 at this point, I started asking everybody, partners from firms all over the country, how many days have you had off since March of 2020? And they all gave me the same sign, big fat zero. And so, and I pretty much knew that, not that there was anywhere to go with COVID, but just the demands that the profession had during COVID with everything that was happening, just it made it tough. And people really didn't understand that. Our clients didn't understand it. Accountants typically don't like to complain, although I sometimes think my book is one big complaint. But I wanted people to understand why they're not getting their calls returned as quickly as they want, and why we can't give them definitive answers that they want because they just didn't exist. So I try to explain that in the book, and the fact that over 300,000 people left the profession is a pretty definitive statement that we've got a problem here. And I try to understand, because it's not one thing, it's 1,000 little things that created the problem.
That's a you just think at 300,000 people leaving the profession, that's a huge impact, because
Yeah, we
there's
started
so
with about a 1.3 million going into and we lost, so going into the pandemic, we had 24 people on staff, 12 left the profession. I'm sorry, 12 left our firm, so half. And we were able to replace most of them, but 12 left our firm. 9 of those 12 left the profession. And the 3 that stayed in the profession, 2 of them, from what I understood, went to a place where they had an agreement they weren't going to have to work much overtime. So,
yeah.
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus, what I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
What were some of the conclusions you made about why there was that mass, because that's a pretty massive exodus from the profession. And I wonder if it's, just thinking about financial industry, healthcare industry, like I wonder how many similarities there are between industries, but maybe that's the next book, or that's the series that we'll talk about. But that's an incredible amount. And what conclusions did you draw in your book about why that happened?
but I've got a daughter that's in the medical profession, and I wouldn't trade places with anybody in the medical profession or anybody that was a first responder and a whole lot of other people. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to have been a grocery clerk having to work, when the pandemic was at its peak. So I think our situation was a little unique in that it wasn't that it was the work-life balance problem, and what you're getting compensated for giving up that balance. And it just completely, it's always been out of balance. But like I say, I think most accountants love their jobs and their work environment. We love the work we do. We love the clients we have. We love our coworkers. But it got so out of balance, and you didn't have any connection to these people in the same way you had before during the pandemic. I mean, you weren't in the office next to them. You weren't meeting face to face with your clients. So it just got out of balance, and the compensation didn't justify it. And, we're in a position where we've got a skill set that translates well into a lot of other jobs. So unlike somebody, if you are a doctor and you decide you don't want to practice medicine anymore, you're probably going to start over at something else to some extent, relative to our skills translate into private industry and other things as well. So we didn't have the same barrier to leave maybe that others have.
Yeah. So tell me now, you've identified some issues in what happened with the profession, even where it's 2024, and I think some of those things are still prevalent in the industry. So let's talk about why, or let's talk about the transition to putting together this business, the RX for Tax. Because you saw a problem or multiple problems, and this was your vehicle to provide the solution for it. So can you tell us about that journey of that creation? Because this is the fun part for me of how we take this idea and make it into an income stream. And it's been a really fun process for me, but I want to hear about it from your perspective.
Well, you should tell the story because you were a huge part of it. In fact, you're kind of the reason, right? So
maybe I am. Maybe I inspired it, but the whole reason that I thought is that you had this amazing book that was talking about ideas and talking about a specific problem. And then I think I asked you the question, so what else are you going to do with this? What's your solution to the problem?
And I didn't know what you were talking about. So I just wrote this book, and it was like, okay, I'm done. Wrote the book. I'll go back to being a bean counter and move on from here. But throughout the book, I identified that this wasn't one issue. This was, I refer to it as a death by 1,000 cuts. It's just one thing on top of another, on top of another, on top of another. And I really believe the solution is going to be the same. I think it's going to be a lot of little things that, from AI and technology and education and rules changing and what have you, a lot of little things are going to add up to the solution. And the profession, which I love, needs to find those solutions, and that I hope to be a part of it in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just writing the book and pointing out the problems. And then through various people, you and I got connected, and you've been advising me on some things. And you said, okay, so what's your business now that the book's going to support? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And you said, well, most people write a book because they want to establish credibility and expertise in what they do because of what they do. And I said, well, that's not why I did it. I don't need that. And so we started talking, and I think I mentioned that I've always been told that I'm pretty good at explaining fairly complicated issues that our clients weren't able to get a grasp on. And I have a pretty good knack at being able to explain those in a way they could understand it. And so I've always wanted to do videos because accountants, we tend to have the same phone calls multiple times a year, right? So
Yeah.
there's a question, what do I need a living trust, or do I need an estate plan, or what should I convert my IRA into a Roth? So I thought if you did videos, you could save a lot of time. And then in that conversation you and I had, the idea of creating these and distributing them through accountants kind of just came to fruition. And then I went and did a couple of them, and with actually one of my former firm's employees, who happens to be my nephew. And we looked at it and we decided, I think we're going to make these animated and not us, because we're boring. And so we created animated videos, and they're just fun to watch. And I think we've beta tested them with a couple of accounting firms, and the response has been great. And the concept, the problems that I'm trying to help accounting firms solve is, one is time. So if I can eliminate some phone calls for an accountant, because he sends out these videos. So these videos we call them explainer videos. So they explain something that's in the news right now, a new tax deal going on, or what I call kind of legacy issues, the things that always seem to come up with most clients. It's kind of, hey, here are the basics. And in that process, we kind of explain whether they kind of should get the idea whether they need to be thinking about this or not. So if they don't need to be thinking about it, hopefully it saves a phone call calling the accountant, who then has to spend 15 minutes trying to work through with them whether or not they need to be concerned about this. So maybe it eliminates those calls. If they decide they do need to take action and do something and contact their accountant, we try to explain what to have ready for that call or email, so that we save 4 or 5 back and forths.
Right.
So that saves time. And we also really get into some of the complexities that the accountant is going to have to work through with them, which really kind of helps, I think, explain a lot of the value of the relationship with their professional, because the fact there is no such thing as a quick question. Everybody thinks they have a quick question, and there is no such thing, because there is a quick generic answer, but more often than not, it's not the best answer. It might be part of the best answer, but it's not the best answer, which is unique to every individual. And so the knowledge that your professional has about you can really help you get to the best solution. So it kind of emphasizes the value that comes from this relationship, and when you need to call and what you have to have ready. So we're trying to save them money, get rid of unbillable, unproductive time, and enhance the value proposition that their clients see.
It's to me, for being an outsider from being, I'm not in the financial industry, but thinking about billable hours, and it's like, how much time do we spend on the phone, or how much time do we spend responding emails? And and all of those things. And just that simple act. And I just think and I'm just so excited about this business because I think it's going to solve a lot of these time issues and communication issues, which are not prevalent in just the accounting industry. It's prevalent with everybody, when you're trying to manage and you're trying to have good customer service, and the more efficient and more productive you can be, the better it is for your business and the better it is for your relationship with your client. And I think there's just such an opportunity to just give people their time back and give people more freedom in their business and strengthen those relationships with their clients, because that's really fundamentally where it is. I mean, you've been talking about it from the beginning. You like being in accounting because you build relationships with people, and that's a good accountant's going to have good relationships with their clients. And this is a solution that's only going to enhance that. So
I think so. And people, they want to be entertained. It's kind of an entertaining little snippet. Oh, I got a cartoon from my accountant, which was kind of off the wall.
And I think that the creativity in that too, because I just told you to record videos, but then that was the innovation behind that is that, I mean, it's a totally new format of communicating. It's something that adds a little humor into it, and I just think it's something so innovative that it's just going to not only impact the accounting industry, but I think other industries will follow suit because it just makes sense. So
yeah, and the fun part, most of the stuff. So we all have information providers that we subscribe to, and most of they'll give us newsletters to send out or letters that we just put our letterhead on, and most of it's too technical, it's too dry, our clients don't want to read it. And then you've got the information that the clients are getting from the internet or from their newspaper or the guy on the radio, and it's just wrong too often because it's not getting into the individuality of the client's needs and how the law applies to it. So we've really tried to be careful to make this a product that accountants are really going to be proud of and not have concerns about sending out, because it's scripted by me, an accountant who's been doing it for a long time, and it's obviously got to be generic to some extent, but informative and in a way that's going to lead the clients and the accountants to the right questions and the best solutions for the clients.
Exactly. Can you, this question has been in my head for a while. Can you talk to me about the differences between the journey of building your accounting business and agency to the differences in building this business, the RX for Tax business? Because I would imagine there's some differences and
oh my gosh.
Because they're two different businesses. They're both service businesses, but one is more in the thought leadership area, and the other one is a service. So can you talk about that? Differences and similarities?
Our practice, which grew to be, pretty good size for one owner and then two owners, it was built on service and referrals, and it was all to me about service. And the clients, they come to us just with an expectation that we know what we're doing because we're CPAs. And so the expectation is that we know what we're doing, but it's the relationship, it's the responsiveness, getting things done timely, and so on. And so, but it's pretty much word of mouth. We didn't really ever do any formal marketing. We just didn't do marketing. We didn't send out newsletters. We didn't do ads. We didn't do any of that. It was all word of mouth referrals because I think we gave a very high level of service.
Yeah.
This business model is very different. Accountants are a hard sell, and they just are, and most of them don't think in terms of marketing. And I think we're finding that, I was thinking that the small firms would just jump all over this, and they may. We've really just getting going. But the large firms are interesting. We had a booth at a conference, and they just say, "Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm going to give it to my marketing person." Well, the marketing person is going to love it, right? Because this is what they do. So it's just different. And it's not a service oriented business where, you're paying me for my time and how you value what we give you. This is a product. You're paying us because we're kind of struggling with how to define exactly what we are.
Yeah.
And, we're a product, right? And we're a product that solves some needs for you. And it's a unique product that isn't out there as far as we know. And we think it can solve, we think it will have great value for you if you use it. And so it's just a completely different, it's a completely different business model, and it's a different marketing strategy. It's not anything like the professions, the accounting profession.
Yeah, it's different. And
Yeah.
it's building this. It's interesting because I would imagine innovation in the tax world or in the financial planning world, that the innovation comes in reaction from the innovation in your end is in the accounting industry comes from, reaction to what laws are passed or what new legislation is, where innovation like this idea is you've found a problem, you've found a way to solve it and to make things easier and to give people more time, but it's something that's like, it's not tangible. You know what I mean? So it's
Right. And the innovation for me is, how can I explain this in a very brief time span in a fun way for somebody to grasp the concept? So
yeah.
I finished up with a script the other day, and I'm trying to explain to people, we're talking about gifting, because gifting, we get questions all the time, both from people who are getting gifts, is this income? Do I have to pay tax on it? And people who are giving the gifts, what are my limits? What do I need to worry about? And I put a line in and I just said, we're talking about the public uses, this is a perfect example of something that's challenging to explain. The public uses the word gift in many, many, many different formats. You give a gift to a charity. You give a gift to your child, or you get a gift from someone, right? Or you get a gift in the mail from a corporation. In the tax world, or you get a gift when somebody died, right? They left you a gift in their will. And in the tax world, they're all different. Something you get from somebody who's deceased is a bequeath. It's an inheritance. Completely different set of tax rules than if that person writes you a $50,000 check while they're alive. That's a gift. And then money you give to a charity is a donation. It's a charitable donation that you may get to deduct. And then I put a line in and I said, your child is not a charity. You don't get a deduction. Because we get that question. We get that question a lot. I'm giving my kid $20,000. Does she need to pay tax on it? And so that was a fun one to do, because you just get into all these different nuances of how the public, our clients, think of these things. And so I'm trying to explain them in a way where it all kind of comes together for them in some way where they can understand. Because I know a lot of times our clients ask us questions and we try to explain it, and I'm sure they're hanging up the phone like the deer in the headlight. They think they should understand it, but they really don't. And it's too bad.
Yeah. Well, and that's why, and this is also why I think your new RX for Tax service is going to serve such an important function, is because you make these challenging legislation and codes interpretable to the audience that needs it, and you do that in a way that is quick and efficient and a different style of communication that is going to be, people are going to respond to that. And I think that's something that's, as far as the innovation is concerned, that's a way that it's all connecting with your audience. And I feel that your business is doing that, and it's going to be fun to see what type of impact you have.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Well, tell me about where you see this business in the next, I don't know, give it 2 years. Where do you see yourself with this business?
Well, I hope that we're um, continuing to make videos. So roughly half the videos are really timely. If you open up the business section today, you're going to read about this topic, and the other half we kind of call legacy. It's the issues that have been around forever. Do I need an estate plan? Um, Next year, 2025, is going to be a very, very, very big tax year because a lot of laws that were implemented by Congress during the Trump administration, they have what they call a sunset date. They expire. They just go away. So a lot of people know that right now, if you die, you can leave, let's call it $13 million to your kids, and your spouse can do another 13 million. That just dies at the end of 2025 if nothing happens. So something will happen. So there's going to be a lot of need, because the idea, again, when all these new things are coming out, accountants are trying to learn about them. They're trying to figure out who needs to know about them and how to implement them. And they're trying to do that in real time. And the clients they're going to be reading about this or hearing about it on the internet, and they're going to have questions. And so we're going to try to get in front of them. So we just hope that we get enough people, enough accountants that see the value in this, that want to subscribe to our service, and that we can provide a real value to them and to their clients, and just find it exciting. And I'm sure they'll come back to us with some ideas for new videos.
For sure. And I think I see a whole library and people subscribing to that library and of new and innovative things that are happening, like for the 2025 tax year, but also just general questions that small business owners might have about taxes. So I think it's going to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So where can our audience find information about your business and your book? Where can we find you?
At our website is rx4tax, the number 4.com, rx4tax.com. And you can buy the book on that website, 800 Days. I wrote the book. I really wrote it hoping that accountants would buy it by the boxfuls and leave it in their lobby for their clients to read and understand what it is that they go through every day. And so I'm hopeful that that'll happen. I don't think it was written about what happened during COVID, but I think it's pretty timeless. I think it's going to continue on, because like I said, these weren't COVID. COVID exacerbated the problems tremendously.
Yeah.
But they were problems that existed and would continue to exist if the pandemic had never happened.
And then can our audience can find you on LinkedIn as well, and
find us
Facebook.
on LinkedIn. I think it's RX for Tax.
Yep.
Hopefully. And you can also find us on Amazon. You can buy the book on Amazon.
Yes, and upcoming with a newsletter you're going to have that people can subscribe to get some information.
And for you commuters, we have the Audible book out, so you can get it in Audible form if you want to listen to it while you drive or jog or whatever else you do, or work and do tax returns.
Yeah. Well, Greg, I am very excited about this business. I'm excited that we're moving to the next phase in it. I think it's a business it's that unicorn that people don't know that they need, but then once they know what it is, they're going to say, of course I need this product. CPAs, accountants, people that do the work that you do, because it is such a stressful and ever-changing environment. And it's good to have some variety and difference in that communication so you can align that work. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thanks, Shelby. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming on the podcast today and telling us your story and telling us about how you transformed your genius into an additional income stream. I think it's a great thing for all people to think about. And I think your story is one that is a great explanation of that, because you have a solution to a problem that exists and you created a business out of it. So thank you for talking about your journey.
Shelby, thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
And to all you potential genius entrepreneurs out there that are thinking about starting a side hustle or a full business that is in the center of your passion and how you can solve problems for others, please feel free to reach out. Let's talk about how you can be a genius entrepreneur. And we'll see you next time when we talk to the next genius that has entered their idea into the marketplace. See you next time.
Hey, we all want to scale our business. Hey, I have the answer for you today to help you do that. If you're looking to scale from 5, 6, even 7 figures and beyond, book called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. I'm going to give it to you for free. All you have to do is type in growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and you can download the book for absolutely free. I hope the book helps you this year. Take your business to the next level. Again, go grab the book, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. I wish you the best and grow, scale, and win.
Thanks for listening to Culture, Communication, and Brand Moments with your host, Shelby Joe Long. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we will see you on the next episode.